welcome to everyone. It says Glenda Barber on my screen, but I am clearly not Glenda Barber because she would not be struggling to let everyone in. I am just here repping team marketing today. I recognize almost every single name in the list here. So I think you're all from team marketing, but if you're watching the recording of this afterwards and you don't know team marketing is a community of over 800 hospitality marketers, and it is the place to be, isn't it, James? There's a WhatsApp group, several different chats. We've got holiday chats, we got supplier recommendation, there's an operator zone chat. People in there will have your back, whatever is happening in your life, whether you just want to share dog photos or if you're looking for the latest tech solution on the market. People have questions, have answers to all of your questions. There is also, and some of you might know this, might not know this, there is a WhatsApp, not a WhatsApp, there is a LinkedIn community. If you search for team marketing community on LinkedIn, you can also hang out with everyone on there. And Glenda posts a really useful update in there every week with everything that you might have missed if you haven't been in the WhatsApp group. So that's a really good one to seek out as well. So today we have the team from Guestwise here to deliver one of many free webinars that are hosted within team marketing. So I'm going to hand over to the gang there in a moment. You will also want to set your diaries for October when there's the big one, team marketing in-person event. But until then, we will be meeting online. So do say hello in the chat. There is also a Q&A function, which I shall be monitoring. So if anything pops up in your mind as the boys present, please drop your questions in the Q&A and we'll have plenty of time to deal with those a bit later. So I think I am just going to focus on letting people in, and I shall hand over to James and Carey. Take it away, boys.
Thanks, Annika. Hello, all. I can't see anyone's faces. I can only see Annika and James.
Same.
Annika,
So I don't know if that's because everyone's got video off or it automatically puts video off, but it would have been lovely to see everyone's face, but there we go.
I think it's because it's a webinar rather than a meeting. I don't think you get to see people's faces. We'll just have to picture them.
There goes the plan to get a lovely photo of everyone to use on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Now it's just a screen of names.
We have so many friendly faces as well. We got Vicky, we got Natalie Dunning, we got Andres, we got Jack Edge, Olivia Reed, all the people that we love.
Although I think Jack is currently sipping cocktails on holiday, so he can turn his camera off.
Oh, Noel says we can send selfies. Yes, please, Noel. Nice. Send your selfies.
I'd hope you, because we got an hour, but I was hoping to sort of present for a while and then take questions, but it's much more difficult to take questions from people who you can't see their faces. Such is life. We will do our best. Alrighty, so I am Carey, I'm the CEO of Guestwise, and I'm here with James.
Hello everyone, I'm James. Work as kind of fractional CMO at Guestwise, but lots of you will know me from lots of different roles as well. So, and Jack has just sent me a message, thankfully not a photo, saying he's currently topless by the pool. So there we go. Nice one, Jack.
Send a photo, Jack, send a photo. So in terms of the webinar, thought the most useful, so Guestwise, and I'll talk a bit about what we do in a minute, but thought the most useful thing is, because we've been working heavily in the AI space for the last year or so, is to just share what we've learned, talk through some of the topics, and hopefully useful for people on your own journeys with AI and AI in systems. I've got a quick presentation. It's not that quick. Cool. Can everyone see my screen?
Yeah. You're quite, I don't know if I am as well, you're quite quiet, Carey.
Am I?
Yeah.
Yeah, Carey is quieter than you, James. You sound fine.
Yeah, which is not an adjective I'd normally use for you, Carey.
That's very odd. Do I just need to speak up?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Fine. Okay. So in terms of today, it's really about guest-facing AI. So there's a load of AI topics, and we're all using AI in various systems and use cases in personal work. Focus today specifically on guest-facing AI because it's quite a topical thing in terms of should we be using it in talking to guests directly, and that could be via chat, that could be via email, that could be by whatever, and how does AI do, I guess. And we've got some pros and cons to share today. I'm Carey. Annika, thank you for hosting. James, thank you for being here. In terms of today, I want to talk about AI dream versus reality because there's a lot of pressure on just use AI to do the whole thing, guest-facing communication, a little bit on discovery because there's a lot of noise around AI is killing our web traffic and is 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 SEO still a thing, etc. So we're going to touch on that, and then some of the challenge solutions of trying to get AI to do the jobs that we want them to do so that we can do the more complicated human things. In terms of Guestwise, so Guestwise, we started, myself and Aidan started 4 years ago. James joined us 2 years ago in a fractional capacity, and then we have about 12 others on the team. And we're mainly software engineers and product managers. So what we like to do is how do we create solutions in it? So we're 100% hospitality focused. We're only in the UK. We work primarily with sort of multi-site groups who already have existing systems. And then how can we build technology that helps to augment marketing and sales teams to do their jobs faster, easier, more personalized to guests, etc. So it's tooling to help with recognizing people on web or creating custom audiences on paid social or chasing up abandoned bookings or capturing consent, building out guest profiles, and how do we take away human effort and accelerate what can be done in marketing and sales through technology, so that humans can do the creative and the clever thinking that we're actually the best at. But the things that a system can do or software can replicate what a human does, use that to augment the wonderful people we have in hospitality marketing who are doing a very difficult job. The challenge we started out focusing on was systems don't talk to each other, and so data in your booking system may be different to data in CRM. POS data doesn't flow through well, loyalty doesn't necessarily connect up with CRM, etc. So there's all these different systems, and marketing is separate from sales. And so when we're selling to people, that doesn't necessarily flow back into the marketing world, and we're marketing to people, it doesn't necessarily flow back into could we sell to those people, etc. So how do we join up those different worlds and different systems with an orchestration layer? And that's what Guestwise is, that integrates with the existing systems to accelerate what they can do. And that could be Airship, that could be Actiol, Collins, Zonal, Pepper, Eagle Eye, etc. It's got a load of integrations to try to bring that automation into one place. There's two sides of what we do. One is marketing optimization. This is where we started off. And this is, again, consent capture on web, recognizing guests on web, letting them know they've got an offer, driving abandoned bookings, web intent. You've looked at my Christmas menu. You've looked at you're interested. Let me send you some more content. You've looked at my kids menu. Let's send you something around kids. So how do we use automation to get content in front of people to encourage them to visit again effectively is bucket one. And then bucket two is kind of sales and inquiry handling. So this is inbound emails. Sales inboxes are full of, I think, sort of 35 to 40% FAQs. So it's, I want to come, but I don't want to book on the website because I want to know, can I bring a cake? I had a weird one the other day. Can you put my cake in your fridge? Can I go, sure, I don't know. Let me ask the operator. So 35 to 40% are FAQs, another 20% are amends or cancels. And then there's the kind of large party, private hire, private dining room. Not great. That bucket, not great with AI, but trying to enable sales teams with an automation of the things that are answerable and handleable. How do we take that off their plate so they can focus on outbound and large party inquiries and celebrations, that kind of stuff. So that's what Guestwise does. Getting into the kind of meat of today, I want to start with the AI dream, because I'm hear from a lot of people that the board or the executive said just use AI. I need another head. Just use AI. Well, great. Why don't you use AI? How about you do it? And it's not a thing. So the AI dream is kind of AI is going to replace, I don't know, all of us. I'm hoping it doesn't replace me. I'm hoping it doesn't replace James and Annika. I'm hoping it doesn't replace any of us. But I think the dream is headcount reduction, automate the marketing, improve forecasting and stock management, dynamic pricing, data. So there's kind of this world of AI can do everything. The reality is, where do you begin? Because we can all use Claude and ChatGPT, but I can't tell Claude to create me a bunch of segments and a bunch of automations in CRM. I can't tell Claude to go to my booking system and find all my large party inquirers who didn't convert and send them an email from my sales system. It just doesn't, these things don't talk to each other. And so the AI reality is it's very good at things where it's deterministic. So you have a revenue number, you by location, you have a stock number by location. Great. That deterministic piece in terms of forecasting can be done. Anything which is very well defined, I think AI is quite good at. Anything which requires judgment, like the price per person on a Tuesday for 50 people at lunch, who knows? That's all human judgment, human empathy, and that's different to a Saturday. And you need the space per location and the capacity and kitchen capacity. As soon as you got ambiguity, AI is not great at it. So this whole AI dream is kind of hovering around out there, and we can use it personally. But in terms of putting into workflows and things, really difficult. And so you could say, right, we're going to use AI in marketing automations, which is fine. But then if you don't know the venue capacity, or if you don't know what's on the menu, or all those things that sit in a different system, then it's really difficult. So systems don't have total context. You can apply AI to one slice of what you do, but how do you apply it?
Oh no,
Carey.
we've lost Carey.
Good.
It's lucky we've got James as well.
It is. I'm gonna have to share my screen then. See if Carey comes back.
Systems, etc.
Oh,
He's back. We lost you, Carey. Oh, we've lost him again.
okay.
Over to you, James.
Can you see my screen?
It's yes, we can.
Okay.
Am I?
Carey, you back?
Sorry, guys.
Cool.
Wi-Fi problems on a tech call. Excellent. So
Let's go from here, and
did you hear me
I'll
on
drive,
the
Carey, and if you
reality of
jump out,
AI?
I'll take over.
Good man, James. Thank you.
Did you hear me on the realities of AI?
Yeah.
Fine. Okay. So getting on to conversational AI, and I think there's a lot of promises here in some people using voice AI, some people using WhatsApp AI, some people using web chat AI. There's email AI. So there's all this. How do we talk to guests using AI? And it's a hot topic because there's a lot of resources required to answer all the different channels, to answer, and there's new channels like WhatsApp, and then they're on my website, can't find the information, so fill out a contact form that drops into the sales inbox. There's inbound emails coming in, which is great because high intent. There's all these people who want to talk to a venue, want to talk to a brand, and it is fairly consistent. It's a lot of FAQs, it's a lot of booking, amending, cancel. It's a lot of can I make a booking? It's a lot of I can see that it's available, the table's available, but I want to know, is it wheelchair accessible? Do you have parking? Can I bring my dog, etc. So there's a real opportunity to talk to guests directly in a real time, genuine, authentic way using AI. But in terms of doing that, there's lots of complexity. So the chat channels are the most simple because they're typically web chat, and AI can now have a really competent conversation, a really answer the questions quickly. You know, you're talking to AI, absolutely fine. Same as WhatsApp, same as Instagram. Um, Phone is pretty good in terms of being able to, again, it's quite like a chat channel in terms of what do you want? I'd like to make a booking. What do you like? I'd like to ask about my dog, etc. So those chat channels are pretty good. Email is much more complex because the inquiries are more complicated, and the way the humans respond on email is more complicated. So we all know chatbots and we expect them to respond, and some are better than others. Some are absolutely dreadful because they don't have the knowledge, or they're clunky, or the responses are not particularly well formed. On email, it is all human at the moment, right? And so the way the human responds is with empathy and with kindness and maybe with humor and understands nuance. That's much more complicated to do with AI. And I think I'd start at the bottom of simple. AI is pretty good at, complicated, not so good at. Has been our experience, and
And I
it
think the
requires.
thing in that as well, with some of the stuff we've found from sales teams, and people are so used to using email, email as a platform, and they differ by area, by region. The London sales team is quite different to the Newcastle sales team, to the Scotland sales team, to like they're all quite different, and they all use email differently, and therefore they all want it to sound and act differently because that's how they currently do. They email in a completely using different language almost, and that's kind of one of the challenges. Whereas in the back and forth conversational, it's almost less important.
No, completely. And AI is good at deterministic. So it's good at, if I know it's Friday for 6 p.m. for 4 people or for 10 people or whatever, great. If you say, can I come Friday night? AI then goes, yes, but what time? I don't know, between 6 and 8. Would you like 6, 6:15, 6:30, 6:40? It needs a very specific answer. I'd like to come for either the 13th or the 14th of May. Do you have availability? Which one do you want? Well, I don't know. You tell me if you got availability. This is the
Yeah.
nuance in terms of because we all as humans we want ambiguity and tell me my options, whereas AI really works well when it's specifically a time, a date, a place. I want to amend, I want to cancel, I want to do a specific action that AI can do for me. When it's ambiguous, suddenly we're into the world of actually humans just do it much better. In terms of requirements, this is for anything to be hooked up to my mind well, and for guests to feel like it's a valuable addition, is it needs to be integrated in the booking system so that I can make my booking in the chat. I don't get to just ask my questions and say yes, please book me in, and then it says, well, here's the web booking form. So integration with existing systems. Every venue needs to have its own knowledge base. A generic kind of, I'm sure we can help with that, doesn't really cut it when you're asking about parking or EV charging. You want to know before you make your booking. And so venue specific knowledge base policies, and then being able to talk as the brand, because somebody like the botanist talks differently to somebody like Schloss, who talks differently to somebody like Rudy's, who talks differently to Cow and Sow. Like there's a lot of nuance in how brands talk, from formal to casual, with catchphrases, without. And so being able to speak as a brand is important. For the Meta chat channel, so this is WhatsApp, Instagram, and Facebook Messenger, you need approved integration, and it takes 3 or 4 weeks for them to then go through and approve your app, which is your integration with Meta. Chat is different to email. People expect it differently. So with chat, when we started building chat, people tend to send short messages, but they send 2 or 3 in a go. And so if you're still trying to reply to the first message, you're only replying to the first thing that they typed. Think about your WhatsApp messages. You actually need to wait and then take the context of all 3 messages to answer them properly. And so chat is different because of the way that people spell. The spelling is much worse in chat. It's quick fire, it's back and forth, so it needs to be fast, and it's just different to email. Whereas email, people are happy to accept a long response because it's a more delayed channel. And then the prompt in terms of instructing AI what to do needs to be locked down. Don't want to talk about politics or the weather or anything else. So it needs to be, it's a hospitality chat for this brand. I represent the brand, and we don't want people breaking out of that into, can you do something else for me? Can I chat to you can you write me a marketing email? No, we don't want to write me a marketing email. What we want to be able to do is to make sure that the AI is being instructed very clearly on the use cases that it can and can't handle. And then obviously there's the risk of PII. So having the safeguards in place to make sure that PII is not leaking. There's no way for other people to hack into the information about people who are chatting with you in those systems, and that brand and guest data is not leaking out into the wider AI world. So all the GDPR stuff is complicated and needs thinking before anybody sort of wildly pumps a load of data into OpenAI, etc.
I think probably one other thing to add in here is those booking system integrations. It's really important to understand as well that the AI follows the settings and rules you currently have set up in those systems, which is great until you realize, like, if you require a deposit for every table of two on a Tuesday, like every table, every day, every size, AI kind of breaks down because that then gets a lot more complicated. Obviously, people aren't putting card details and things like that into a WhatsApp message or into an email, so you're then having to spit them back out to a payment link, and things like that. So it's about, which probably then ties back to like almost like a bit of an audit of your booking journey as well. I think before you're implementing this, think, can we actually open the gates a little bit? Like, are we happy to take larger bookings? Are we happy to not take deposits? It kind of needs to come with a compromise. There's probably some days, sometimes some bookings where you don't want to compromise that. But then, yeah, understanding before you implement something like this, just understand that it's going to match your current booking rules. So they need to be, they almost need to play friendly, I guess. Otherwise, you'll hit roadblocks probably.
Yeah, exactly the same as a widget. That effectively the widget on any websites, whether it's a Zama Night widget or a web page talking to these booking systems, we can only do what those widgets can do. So if you're on the widget, you can't book. AI is not going to be able to book you in. So yeah, completely, James, and therefore it comes. And also the systems are different. So if you're an open table, they have different capabilities to columns, who have different capabilities to zonal, and therefore even things like amend and cancel. OpenTable via API require the location and the booking confirmation number. But why are you emailing me if you have your booking confirmation number? You're just going to click on it, right? And so people are emailing in because they don't have that number. but in OpenTable, you can't go and amend or cancel a booking via AI or via AI chat unless you have those piece of information. So again, system limitations are a bit painful, whereas Collins is, for example, much more open. You can use an email, use a phone number, go and get the booking, absolutely fine. I think Zonal's two pieces of information, location and phone number, for example, whichever knows where they booked and they know their phone number is so great. And there's pieces we can do around that. So we're doing a piece with OpenTable where we're just going to extract all of their bookings so we can look our side, but it's just a load more extra work. So it's just your existing system limitations are a thing to consider. This is just a humorous piece. AI can be really stupid. And so this is because AI is non-deterministic, it's making up the best answer that it can. And so the there's times where we've in the training set, thankfully in real life this hasn't happened, but in the training set, people asking they're not sure what year AI is not sure what year it is, or made up a date that didn't exist, or tries to answer all the questions. So if you think about ChatGPT, when you ask it a one-line question, it gives you 400 lines of answer and then says, "Would you like me to do more for you?" It's desperate to be helpful, desperate to give you all the information. Can I bring my dog? Yes, and we also have live music and we also have this menu. And it's just trying to be helpful in exactly the same way as ChatGPT wants to respond to you with way too much information. And so, how do we condense that down into a more human form, which would be, of course, you can bring your dog. Can you let me know when you're coming and what you're most interested in, and I'll get you booked in, right? But it doesn't naturally act that way. So, we're having to guide AI to be like hospitality rather than the other way around. Um, and then tone of voice. So something like the botanists, for example, have lots of fun stuff around bloom and marvelous and et cetera, et cetera. Uh, but a human's never going to say, perfect, we'll get you rooted in at the botanist bath, right? Not ideal. It just doesn't know. It just takes all this stuff and goes, I'm going to speak like the brand. And you go, okay, you need to calm down. You need to be a little bit more normal. And so trying to get AI to act like we do and be hospitable, because the whole point of hospitality is the experience and the engagement. And if we use AI to make it sound robotic or wild or just kind of like ChatGPT, that's not the experience we want. So it's trying to get AI to be hospitality is a bit of a journey. People can't ask questions. I don't think. I think you can talk. Was there any questions on the conversational piece before I move on to discovery?
We have no questions in the Q&A. I don't know if everyone knows where to find the Q&A. You kind of have to hover your mouse at the bottom of the screen and then options turn up. You can drop questions there in the Q&A. And I was thinking, actually, it looks like I can promote people to panelists. So if anyone's happy later on to come on and actually ask their question, we can ask people to raise their hand and then they can come up and show their lovely face.
Promote everyone.
Nothing in the Q&A
Everyone
so
can be a
far,
panelist.
and nothing in the chat so far either. So I think you're safe to carry on.
Carry on. I will do that. Thank you, Annika. Fine. So in terms of questions later, there's conversational AI piece and how to use AI to orchestrate elements across systems. Happy to answer questions on that. Moving on to discovery. This is something I put this slide in because it's keep hearing it, keep hearing web traffic's down, AI is killing hospitality traffic, etc. And there's a bit of panic around it. And so just wanted to give, I guess, our views of what we've seen. And I don't think AI itself is eating web traffic. I think web traffic is down primarily because of Google AI summaries. But then when people reach the website, they're going on to book. And so I don't think bookings are significantly down. So it's just higher intent when they land. But that Google summary thing is definitely a challenge because we're all used to a world in which you search for a venue and it comes up with the venue, either a sponsored link or as an organic link. And SEO was absolutely the way to make sure you're top of that list when people search for best Sunday roast near me and you come up with your link, whereas now it just comes up with the AI summary and then it goes to the suggestions, and those suggestions are much more opaque than SEO world. However, what we are seeing is SEO is still the most important thing. That is still the majority of from all the sources we see. It's still Google and it's still Google search, and so the basics of SEO remain as true today as they've ever been in terms of domain expertise and domain authority. And so doubling down on that to make sure that the SEO piece is really covered will also help with the AI search, because AI is also using those same sort of approaches in terms of using its own judgment for domain knowledge and expertise. However, I think what has changed significantly is that it's also searching the wider internet. So it's not just searching your SEO in terms of website structure, knowledge, domain expertise, it's also searching the wider internet and searching Reddit, and the weightings differ by model or by provider. So some have higher weighting on TripAdvisor versus Google versus Reddit versus random blog posts versus PR, but they all matter, right? And so these digital touch points are suddenly all part of that judgment. So there's the SEO piece to get right, and then there's the almost an internet audit of what are the places that AI can find information, because it can synthesize all of that and then try to determine if it's consistent. And the biggest inconsistency, well, there's two big pieces of inconsistency. One is different listing sites. If they've got different information on Yelp versus Google My Business versus some other listing site versus the website, suddenly AI goes, I'm confused. This can't be credible. And you get downgraded. So as soon as there's inconsistencies on details of opening hours, venue location, the kind of basics of each venue, that's a problem. And then it's going to look at how are people talking in the wider internet versus the brand. And this is, I think, where the biggest disconnect happens, because as hospitality marketers or as brands, we don't talk in the same way that guests talk. And so a guest will say, I had an amazing experience, I had a brilliant birthday. Whereas the brand page will say, we have great food and a
All right, I'll jump in.
Thanks, James.
Yeah, we've lost him, and Carey's probably going to come back halfway through again. So, yeah, I think it's about Carey was saying about lining up the content on your website, and I think some good examples of this as well is think of some of the key. Maybe you think about the top two or three key reasons why people are visiting your venue and or your brand, because sometimes they're going to be different by venue as they are for brands. So it could be because of a unique location, that it's located uh, near the O2 or on the river, or it's got a rooftop or anything like that. So you've got some of the kind of physical attributes, but then you've maybe got the reason as well. So it might be bottomless brunch, it might be lunch, it might be dinner, it might be afternoon tea, whatever it is. And I think it's about that's where the search has moved into more specific content related search. So making sure that those pages that you've got read like a search page, read in terms of the terms people use, and not just like a menu where you just kind of list what is on your afternoon tea menu or what is on bottomless brunch. And then when it comes to FAQs as well, is when you've got for every venue page, you should have a list of FAQs for the venue, but then I'd argue you should have a list of FAQs for those like type or occasion pages. So if you've got an afternoon tea that you do, add FAQs to that page as well that are more specific. Do you do a gluten-free afternoon tea? Do you do a vegan afternoon tea? Can I bring my own balloons for afternoon tea? Do I need to pre-order afternoon tea? All of those things. Like, do you do an alcohol, like a bottomless cocktail afternoon tea? So all of those things. So those, yeah, those specific kind of occasion and venue pages now are becoming more and more important, because that's where the search terms are kind of shifting to those more specific terms. And then yeah, at the bottom I put here like public reviews are still probably one of the most important things you can focus on for AI search, and that's typically because people will be, if there's ways in which you can, but people are typically like putting in their reviews that they had a great birthday, or the afternoon tea was fantastic, or bottomless brunch was great, or the drinks were really slow, right? So those things there, guests in their reviews typically are really specific about what they did and what it was like. And that's impacting how people search, because people are searching a bit more like people are writing reviews now. So yeah, it's probably about moving a little bit away from uh, brand terminology. If you've got really strong, heavy like brand words that you've lent on for years and years and years, I'd kind of loosen the shackles on them a little bit and be a little bit more search first rather than brand first.
Are you
But
sharing now, James?
put him.
Are you sharing?
I've been sharing for ages, Carey.
Have you?
Yeah. Have you been We've just been pressing down at exactly the same time.
That's amazing. It's in sync.
Yeah, we are in sync. Um, but look, it's the same everywhere, I'd say, in terms of anyone's sat there kind of worried and people are saying web traffic is down, is everyone's like everyone's web traffic is down. And there's a plethora of reasons for it, right? There is a lot of different reasons for it. Some of them are captured here. Yeah, and there's more. I just think the way in which people are sharing information now is changed as well. So anything more to say on this one, Kerry?
No, I think it's just thinking, it's understanding how AI is what it's using to make its judgment, and it is fairly basic. It's just reviewing all the information it can find. It's saying, is it consistent? Is this the same messaging? Do I trust it now or recommend it? It just doesn't have judgment. It doesn't have proper nuance to know, is it more important that this person said it or that it was in this publication? It just goes, well, it's published on the internet, and therefore I'm going to trust that that's a thing. And if it doesn't match up, then it's going to penalize brands. And so thinking about how AI constructs its reasoning is really important in terms of making sure that we're all showing up well in this AI discovery world.
Yeah. There's a couple of things like techie wise that you can do, things like schema markup, but then there's I think there's sometimes a lot of chat on that from some of them for people trying to sound clever when it's not actually like that beneficial. So there was a while, like a few months ago, where I think a lot of people were talking about LLM text files and uploading them. The reality is, I don't really think they make much difference yet. There's nothing really that shows that they're making a huge difference yet. I'd be focusing on the on-page content and the schema markup before I'd be focusing on anything like that because, and let's face it, it's still also 95% of your kind of traffic to your website is non-AI driven at the moment. It's those summaries, so it's making sure that content on your website is optimized for answering questions.
And lots of FAQs, and then also just if people have JavaScript heavy websites, I don't believe that the LLMs can read that.
Yeah.
You've got images that have text in the image, can't really read that, and therefore separating those two things out to have an image and then it can read the text. So it's just like a basic robot crawling because
Yeah.
these things were built as large language models, written text, right? And that's what they're going to read. They're going to read the text that they can read, and if that's structured and comprehensive and consistent, that's the biggest thing to do on your website. And then that kind of social proofing, social reviews, how do people speak about your brand, that stuff becomes really important. Cool. And then if anybody's heard in terms of the ChatGPT apps, just want to touch on that quickly. Is AI chat a future entry point? Meh, I'm not particularly fussed about it, but I've had lots of questions about it. We've built a proof of concept around it because people are so interested in it. It's effectively like a web chat widget that sits in ChatGPT, but the volume coming from those chats is low, and then the number of people going and finding a restaurant branded app is going to be incredibly low. And so we built a POC for it. It's just a UI widget which effectively works on the same technology as WhatsApp chat or web chat, based on the same knowledge base, same integration. So it can do all the things that a web chat or WhatsApp chat can do. I just don't expect huge volume. So people are asking about this. Yes, it's an opportunity, but even when they go to organic suggestion of apps, so think about it like 2012, probably 2008 Apple App Store. It's still, people have got to find you, people have got to use it. And even when they start doing organic recommendation of apps, are they going to recommend a brand app? Or are they going to recommend booking.com or TripAdvisor or The Fork or OpenTable, right? They're going to recommend aggregator because in the LLM's view, that is the most likely place that a consumer can go to find the information they want. So it's a thing. I don't expect it to be a big thing, at least short term, maybe in 5 years' time. But this year, I don't think it's a big thing this year, but it is something that people may be asking about. Cool. In terms of want to throw in the AI chat provider questions, and this is really on the back of a bunch of conversation we've had where people are struggling to compare a Guestwise and a Hey Guest and a whoever and a whoever and a what can you do? And so just want to throw out there, not you need to use Guestwise because I don't particularly mind. I think choose who you want to use if you want to use anyone at all. It's more what are the questions to ask in terms of expectations of using AI with guest facing communication, because I think that is going to be a really important thing. And so it's a knowledge base. How does it get built? How does it learn and improve over time? What reporting can I see? And can I see topics of conversation, dropout rates, unhappy customers who are using chat? I hate your chat. Well, you need to know that, right? You need to be able to know whether that's a problem. Siloed AI, what hospitality systems did it integrate with? Because most of this AI stuff needs to integrate with a bunch of existing systems. And so you ideally want people who are in chat to be able to consent to marketing, because otherwise, when they're on the website, they can consent to marketing, sign up to your newsletter. When they're in chat, they need to be able to do that. They need to be able to say, yeah, I'd like to join your marketing, and then drop that into CRM. So CRM integrations, booking integrations, escalation, where does it go? How do you know when people are unhappy and they need a human touch? Because I think this is really important. I don't currently believe we just release the AI to talk to our guests. I believe that it should be a human in the loop. There should be always an option to talk to a person, and even short term, if that was a form that gets directly to a human, you need a way to escalate that out. Um, and then what next? Can they consent? Where does conversation go? If I said it was my birthday, does that go anywhere? All of these to move into a world of really high quality chat. I think we need to be making sure that any AI interaction with guests comes back into where we market and where we sell and where we take bookings, and be able to have a human who's able to intervene when required. So these are kind of questions I would be asking if I was bringing on any sort of provider of AI or AI chat.
Yeah. I think it's probably an important thing. Like if you've got some of this in place, or you're planning to bring some in at some point, probably whatever channel it is, and I've heard a few examples of this where it hasn't been done and therefore it trips you up. But as part of your if you're putting on a marketing campaign, whatever, you're launching a new menu and you're giving 20% off, right? Or whatever it might be, is when you're building the campaign plan for that. So you're building what email we need. We need to do our website. We need our paid social. We need our social. We need design, whatever that might be. Include in your plan there as a tick box that we need to update the knowledge base. Because if you don't update the knowledge base, and I've heard this a few times, so suddenly an email will go out and it's on the website. The email's gone out. It's on social about this big new promo, and you get this and blah blah blah, and then people ring if you've got a phone AI, or they send a message, or they email, or they follow up, and the AI's got it's got no knowledge of that. But almost the worst thing, it tells you what it currently knows, when what it currently knows is actually probably now wrong. So because it's been told to answer the question, it would go, yeah, no, we don't have an offer on for 20% off at the moment. And you're like, you just sent me an email about having an offer for 20% off at the moment. So include in your campaign plans before anything goes live, like you do with making sure it's across all your planners, including that an element that you need to update your knowledge base. Otherwise, you'll trip yourself up.
No, exactly. And I think what'll be interesting with this is because you've got sort of Poly AI, who's a leader in voice AI, you've got AdSol, you've got iVox, there's
All the platform specific ones, right? Seven Rooms, Collins, and what have you.
Seven Rooms, Collins, but they don't all sit on the same knowledge base. And so I think the challenge we're all going to have to face in hospitality is how do those systems all come together? Because if I've called your voice AI and I drop out of that flow, do you follow me up on email or WhatsApp? At the moment, you don't. You just drop, right? And those. So on the website, we can follow up with Benn and bookings. On voice AI, how do we follow up those people who didn't convert, right? How do we follow up those people who told us it was their birthday and they were looking for an occasion but didn't have availability? How do we follow them up next year and all that kind of stuff? So because we could very easily, in the same way we've got silos across existing systems, we could end up with the AI silos of slightly different knowledge-based responses, not being escalated to human, etc. So where does the escalation live? Where does the knowledge base live? Because ideally, every time a guest interacts with you, whether it's on WhatsApp or on voice, it's the same. It should be the same experience. It's your brand experience, not the provider's experience. So trying to move to a world in which technology providers act for the brand and unify across different systems, I think is really, really important to that brand experience and providing great hospitality. And I think where some of this goes, I think, is useful because I think there's a world in the future where, as we see in the Middle East and China, where something like WhatsApp becomes your direct connection to the venue, and therefore next time, do you want to go search a George and Jack in Wanstead, go on the website, go to the widget, or just want to drop them a text on in the middle of a call and go, hey, got tables for Friday night, 6 p.m. Yes, we do. And therefore I can then come back to it when I want to come back to it. I don't have to be on a browser. I don't have to be on my phone on their website. And so this kind of asynchronous communication that allows me to send a message off, get it back in my own time, reply with either information or a confirmation gives me a lot more control. And what we see in Middle East and China is that they're using it as a concierge. They're using it as a direct connection. And so I think that combination of web and social and something like email and WhatsApp becomes interesting. A lot of brands have turned off, taken away phone numbers, taken away direct emails because it's too hard to resource. I think what AI allows us to do is to bring back some of those direct channels while telling guests that it's an AI response, but at least you can get it immediately and I can do 90% of what you want, right?
Yeah.
But if you want to have 50 people here for your birthday, give us a call.
Yeah.
right? How do we get people? Because I actually think the human connection for that, when I want to ask a question, is great. How do we filter out the ones that don't need the human connection and give the people exactly what they want when they want it, and then make sure that the human to human stuff stays where it needs to be?
Yeah. And I think an example of that is how do we take some of the context from a conversation and turn it into something that then becomes more useful in a CRM world. So if someone emails or phones or messages and says, I'm booking a table for 4 on Sunday with my kids for my wife's birthday, it's like, okay, there's a lot of information in there, like from a CRM perspective. You have kids, all right? Tag has kids. Like your wife's birthday, we now know your wife's birthday, right? We can follow up on that at some point, maybe look, and this is further down the line, but in a post-visit email, can you bring that information into that email? We hope your wife had a great birthday, right? Then for next year, you know when that birthday is. So how can we take some of that information, store it in CRM in a way that it then becomes usable and then enable us to use it moving forward? Because there's a lot of rich information there that gets lost.
Indeed. And then the final one on this one, actually, James, you just reminded me. WhatsApp, I'm a promoter, probably because I like it. And so I'm going to keep banging the drum for WhatsApp. But the one thing to watch out for is that, not related to something that we have done, but a customer of ours who's got 7 sort of high-end restaurants has had their WhatsApp numbers banned by Meta. The reason they've been banned is because they were using another provider to send out marketing messages, but the opt-in was for text. And so this is a very open conversation. Is text consent usable for WhatsApp? Meta does not believe so. A lot of brands do believe so. So in the future world, we want to do marketing via WhatsApp.
We don't have consent. Is I think what Kerry's about to say. Like from a meta perspective, we don't have consent. We haven't been capturing consent anywhere where you've been capturing an SMS opt-in, typically on a sign-up form or on a booking platform. We haven't captured WhatsApp consent, and I think probably then the third challenge, none of the CRMs that I know of anyway have that as a separate field. So none of them have a stored consent for WhatsApp yet. So then even if you were collecting it, it kind of needs to be stored elsewhere. Some of them have consent for direct mail and things like that, which is interesting because it's not done very much. But yeah, so that consent piece on WhatsApp is one to be aware of.
Yeah, so just being aware of consent, I think, is important, and also having a way to push into CRM that they're
Yeah.
different things, because I'm not sure if CRM currently separates them into SMS and WhatsApp.
No, that's what I just covered as well. So yeah.
Yep. So that's
I'm loving the double act, how Carey can literally drop out in the middle of a sentence and James just picks up. Brilliant.
we talk about this stuff a lot. Wanted to cover this one very quickly, and we're almost at the end. Is AI is definitely changing how people are building technology. I guess the topic of conversation for this room is AI costs are going up, and I don't know whether people are seeing it as a thing, but where is it being budgeted for, right? Our costs are now at 12 grand a month for our token usage and our AI subscriptions, which is great. So theoretically, we can do more engineering, we can ship more features, but it's a significant cost, and I'm not sure whether people are budgeting for it. And I've had a couple of conversations across the industry at roundtable dinners where people are like, look, we kind of have a budget and we just stuck a number in 20 grand, 50 grand, 1 grand, whatever the number is. But if we're going to start using AI in external facing stuff, there's a cost. If we're going to use AI internally in workflows, there's a cost. And I don't know where it sits, but it's definitely something which is coming and something to consider. Because if we want to continue to use these tools at scale, it's going to be like another head. It's going to be like another, it's not just another system tool. It's not just another SaaS subscription. It's kind of a usage subscription that can
Yeah.
balloon really quickly. Like we were at about 4 grand a month up until April, and suddenly we're at 12 grand a month. And you're like, whoa, is this all, are we using frontier models to ask, can you write me an email to some, like, I don't know, like this is which models are we using, which systems are we using, and suddenly the cost needs to be accounted for somewhere. So there's a load of tools out there. It's just which you use and what do you get the return on investment from. Cool. And so this is just the final kind of thought. I think it's got broad potential. I think it's an amazing magic box. But I don't think we can just plug it in and do it everywhere because it needs integration, it needs context, it needs a human in the loop, and it needs lots of training. So it's like hiring junior execs and then taking time to onboard them and get them up and running and show them the systems and give them access and all that kind of stuff. That's effectively where AI is at. And so huge potential. People are saying it's going to do all the things. It's not going to do all the things, and it actually requires people like people in this room and tech providers to lean into the reality of using AI at scale is much more complicated than it seems at first glance. And I think that's the last slide.
There we go.
Cool.
Can people? I don't know if people are people enabled to turn their camera on. It'd be nice to send
Well,
a
if
video, a
anyone
photo,
wants,
even just to Glenda of everyone smiling for her.
I can upgrade everyone to panelists, and we can see who. I don't think the camera automatically comes on, so you
Oh,
can.
okay.
Or if anyone who's happy to puts their hand up, I could upgrade them. But I would also love in the chat if people could just drop. Are they excited about possibilities? Are they overwhelmed? How do you feel about AI in guest facing conversations? Everyone, drop a single word or two into the chat to let us know.
Or any questions anyone's got, either it's something we covered or didn't cover, and we can kind of give an opinion or give a specific example or answer if anyone's got anything they want to ask or want to know.
There's silence and
Silence.
tumbleweeds.
Either that was useful, or it was just completely baffling, or you already knew this stuff.
I definitely didn't know
We'll
all
never
of it.
know.
I'm also wondering if everyone in the room knows what Guestwise does outside of AI. Like, do you want to give a sort of 1 minute elevator pitch before we all wrap up?
Yeah, so it's effectively all automation of marketing and sales, right? So the AI stuff's all on the inquiry handling and chat side. The marketing side is plugs into website, social accounts, and CRM to do more marketing. So to do more on web, to do more on paid social audiences, to do more on via CRM. And so your CRM automations will be set up, but how can we pump abandoned journeys through that? How do we look at someone's intent on afternoon tea and send them an email on that? How do we look at people who booked with high cover values in the past, or people who are lapsing, who are not lapsed yet, but who've fallen out of a visit pattern of 1, 2, 3, and then haven't visited in 6 months. So it's new automations, new CRM
Yeah.
automations, and then we're just in the process of launching a piece which is kind of a from the GM email. So it's not a marketing email. It's a, hey, it's John here from the Dog and Duck. We'd love to see you for your birthday because we saw you last year. So it's an augmentation of, you've got your birthday campaign. Now you can have a personal message from the venue to say, hey, Carey, we'd love to see you. So trying to be more personalized. And then we do some stuff. We do spin to win. We do refer a friend program, thousands a week of kind of people referring friends to say, hey, because advocacy is this enormous piece. And I think Olivia Iser was here, and they did a great piece on advocacy being sort of the occasions and advocacy being the number one driver of visits in 2026. And so that kind of in the refer friends, we're trying to augment that market is happening and make more marketing happen. It's more personalized to drive more repeat visits, to drive more sort of lifetime
Yeah.
value through retention.
I think in an absolute top line, it's like it's a suite of tools to get you to know more guests. So we enable you to kind of get to know more guests and then get to know more about them by tracking them in different places and using the context in different places, basically to then nudge them more. So like get to know more people, know more about them, and enable you to nudge them more in more places to book, basically, and to convert.
So that thing you mentioned earlier, James, with you see that somebody's wife's birthday is next
Hmm.
week. You save that extra layer about someone. I'm not aware of any CRM that lets you add other
So
people's birth dates.
So you can there's the platforms like Airship, Axiom, and what have you enable you to capture another special date, right? An anniversary date, a second person's birthday date, whatever that is. So that exists as a field you can capture, and you can put it on a sign-up form, for example. I guess what I'm talking about is, and to be clear, this isn't built yet, but it is more of a what we should be doing is grabbing the context from all these conversations and putting them in CRM, right? And that enables that requires a bunch of things that requires the CRMs to enable that. Like they need to change the way in which they currently structure data to enable that data to be pushed in, and then ideally enable us to trigger off the back of having that data. So
cool. We've had a few questions now. I've actually sent panelist invitations. So Noel was first. If you're happy to come and ask your question, please just switch your camera on. Otherwise, I can read them out.
I've done my hair, but I know it's going to be on screen. But yeah, so there's a couple of different phone answering based AI people we've talked to in the past, and it's not only one. We got when you dial the restaurants, you've got a kind of an option based structure that takes you down whether it's for events or which venue, etc. And there's some of the AI phone models that seem to be saying, oh, you've got to replace your phone number on Google to be our phone number. And that seems quite problematic to me, because then if you've got any more complicated question, you either have to provide individual mobile numbers to phones to each one of your guest relations team, or the person can get passed back to the top of the inquiry tree. So it just doesn't seem as though they're sitting right to me now. So it'd be interesting to get your take on if there are any of those platforms doing that really well, as opposed to what I've just elucidated.
Yeah, I'm with you. I wouldn't be replacing it with just an AI chat, because if I want to make a complaint, I can't do that. If I want to make a large party inquiry, I can't do that. If I want to, so it's what I've seen work best is the tree to say, what is it related to? And if you want to make a booking, push it to the AI. You want to ask questions about the venue, push it to the AI. But it's kind of the topic should determine whether it goes into the AI chat, because AI chats can't do large party inquiries. AI chats can't handle complaints. I mean, all they're going to do is say, cool, here's the form to fill out our complaint link, right? So in terms of capabilities, it'd be fine. If AI could do everything that you're talking about, then great. But if it can't, then you need different streams of information before it hits the AI chat.
yeah.
And is there anyone doing that particularly well, do you think?
So I haven't seen anyone replace it with only AI chat. The ones that we work with all have kind of a pre-filter, which is press 1, press 2, press 3, and then you go into AI chat, not the other way around. So I haven't heard of people going straight into everything into AI chat.
Yeah.
And I'm also thinking about the phone answering based models as well. We've come across some of those where, as in, do dial into your existing structure. Some of them can say they can integrate with your. I'm trying to remember the name of the.
I think AdSalt does. I think PolyAI does. I think iVox does. I think they all do. There's some in the US that are pretty good that haven't come over here yet. Slang seems to have a good reputation.
I think your question in the chat, I think as well, Noel, seems to be about replacing your number on Google. Is that right? Like I would be cautious of doing that, because then you need to do that in lots and lots of places. And I think you still want a regional number for where you're based. So they should be able to, you keep your existing number, they then hook into that over the top of your IVR beyond that. I think some of the things, and maybe this is probably just my personal opinion on it more than anything else, is I don't know, sometimes people are ringing the venue because they want to speak to a person. Otherwise, I wouldn't be ringing the venue. Like if I like, and that for me is like the art of that's hospitality, right? It's a human to human, and just to go and replace all of that with AI, for me, just hits a bit of a juxtaposition of what hospitality is. Like, yes, we can use it in some instances. Maybe it's for after hours, right? Maybe it's for certain specific things we can use it for, but to just go and wipe out, and I get the operational challenges, right? I understand wage costs, like staffing reductions to try and hit percentages and what have you, and answering the phone is hard. But just to completely remove it, like there's a reason I rang to speak to someone, and like
no, completely agree. I think we'd only ever consider it either out of hours or when you can see from the records that, say it's the peak part of service where it's the guest relations team are no longer active, it's redirecting to venue, and you're getting a 55% phone answering rate. I mean, to be honest, most of the people are ringing to say, I'm running 15 minutes late, I'm ringing to book. But yeah.
Cool. Vicky, are you happy to come and ask your question, or would you like me to read them out? I might start with the first one. So Vicky had two questions. The first one was Google review feeds on website. She personally hates them, but is it a driver for AI search and so worth having?
Just do I know explicitly? No, I'm not sure. I think it's probably not that important. I'd focus your website more because you need to have it live, right? There's no point having just like old reviews. I think it would probably pick that up. If it wants reviews, it's going to go to review platforms directly, right? It's just going to go to your Google business and it's going to go to TripAdvisor and it's going to go to wherever else. So I'm not sure personally putting it on your website makes that much difference. I'd have your website structured more, just having the content structured around the questions people are asking and people are searching for, making sections on your website that answer those questions more than reviews. One thing, and in fact, I think Six by Nico are the only guys that I've seen do this, but I quite like it. Is actually bringing reviews into other forms of marketing. So sometimes you'll get an email about their experiences, and it will bring in like because of how their model works, and they're constantly changing menus and changing experiences. They'll follow up people with like here's the feedback that we're getting, and obviously they're tailor picking the kind of the best reviews, right? But again, I don't know if you're sending an email out, maybe it's part of your welcome emails. Like if you're sending an email about your private dining rooms or your afternoon tea or your bottomless brunch or whatever it might be, go and find some of the best reviews and maybe bring those reviews into your kind of emails. Yeah, it's like a social proof element in there.
Yeah, I've
And
just seen
also,
a few more sites that have started to put that link on. It just reminds me of my old
Yeah,
pub days when they was used to have it, and I never liked it.
yeah.
Like Roses, for example, I've just seen they'd relaunched yesterday, and they've
Are
got it
they?
on all of their location pages. And our SEO agency had also recently said it, and I've been sort of stamping that.
One thing I think Boston Tea Party did, which is pretty fun, is they brought for each of their local pages, they brought snippets of
Yeah.
reviews into their text. So it will be like, we our location in Leeds is situated by the cathedral. Oh, and thanks, Vicky. Yes, we agree. We do serve the best tea in Leeds, right? And that almost like names people and kind of links
Yeah.
to reviews that way, which I thought was quite fun. Like,
I think
it's quite a kind of local way of doing it.
I did that a few years ago on a customer website that we'd built for them, but I wouldn't.
Oh no, we've lost him again.
This is where it's going to get quite hard to know what he wouldn't do right now. I'll be honest. Like,
So we are actually out of time, but I know Vicky has one more question, and there's also a question from Josh. So let's whip through them really quickly. Oh, and Victoria's just shared something that I'm going to read. But Vicky, fire away your second question.
Yeah, no, it was more on the phone AI. I've just done a trial with Poly AI, and a
yeah,
massive bugbear, which then I don't know how it links back with the CRM, was the misspelling of names.
yeah.
Literally just couldn't catch up with any names. So how does that then feed back with updating, if someone's already on a CRM to know that they've rebooked it, it's creating a new profile each time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's challenging. How do you get around that? I don't know. Interesting though. We've done a bunch of stuff on using AI to transcribe voice notes. So we do some of that, specifically for things like lost and found. So people, which honestly, quite often people have lost something once they've had a few shandies, haven't they? So, and actually, we found that fine in terms of voice transcribing. So I don't know that Carey might be able to answer that better in terms of whether there's bits of tech that are better at picking out spelling than others. But yeah, otherwise, as you say, you're going to end up with loads of duplicates in your CRM and your booking platform, right?
Yeah.
You don't know a better way.
Effectively, they always get my name wrong.
Well, they
Yeah.
get mine, and I don't think mine's that difficult.
No, and so it's an operational change, I think, which is say, please spell your email address. They're not like we've got a colleague called Sophia, but it's ZS. AI is just never going to pick it up. Like it's just not reliable, and therefore getting people to say, right, please. The operational piece up front is to say, in order to avoid any distraction, can you please spell your email address? Is probably the easiest way around that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this was they asked on Poly
Oh.
AI, they asked you to spell it.
I would just raise it with them because that feels good.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks. Lovely to see your face, Vicky.
Yes, thank you for inviting me on here.
So we have one more question, and I think I'm just going to fire it off because we are out of time already. So Josh says, the point about keeping a knowledge base updated sounds really important. With menus and opening hours changing regularly, this can be a real challenge for multi-site operators. Is anyone aware of software that helps streamline this process?
Yep, there's a bunch. I think there was literally a chat on this on TMM the other day. So the biggest and probably most expensive one is called Yext. But yeah, it's pretty pricey. There's one called Marquee, and there is a couple of others. I think there was literally a chat on this. Might have been back end of last week, Josh. If you want, I'll just send them to you because there's a number of them that can do it. They will update. They will update things like opening hours, listing accuracy, like amenities, like on-site parking, kid-friendly, blah blah blah. Those kinds of things. They will update those generic listings. Obviously, what they won't update is a knowledge base to say, like, we've just launched a new menu and we're running 20% off, and it starts on the 10th of February and it ends on the 20th of March, right?
I guess the challenge I've got is the offsite listings, but also updating the info on the website and ensuring that the AI chat on the website is pulling all of that info in as well, which I don't know if Yext necessarily can do all of those at this point. I guess the dream is that you literally plug into one system and it updates your AI chat, updates your website, and updates your offsite listings, right?
Indeed.
Cool.
Yeah.
Victoria has just posted a really helpful note. So before I close the webinar, I'll copy that note and drop it into the WhatsApp group so that people who had to log off early doesn't miss it or don't miss it. If anyone is willing to come up and take a quick screenshot for Glenda, I'm going to promote everyone that's left to panelists. If you're happy, just come on and we can take a quick picture. But otherwise, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Carey and James, for the incredible double act. I don't think I could have done that if James wasn't in the room. So that's great. And please do drop us a note in team marketing to let us know if you enjoyed it.